So this video is probably going to upset a lot of people in the self-improvement sphere. And I just want to make this very clear. I got nothing against people who want to self-improve, do better with their lives. I'm all for that. I always like skills maxing. I like looks maxing. I like all sorts of maxing that possibly a guy can get, right? I'm a dude in 2024 who really enjoys the freedom that I understand I have to make myself a better human being. And there's a lot of these, like, gurus and stuff like that pop up, and I guess you can consider me one of them because I have commentary on this. I just have, like, random journal entries on this channel, so I understand that I might fall under that. But there are a few who just end up being disingenuous, where it's like you have to pay this $50 paywall to be part of an exclusive club. Meanwhile, like 100,000 people are joining. And that dude's probably cashing on $5 million just that year. There's all sorts of like different like kits that they sell you. Like I don't need to buy those because I know how to be creative and know what I'm doing and everything like that. Where sometimes it's just, you could tell that there's such an obvious grift with the self-improvement, which is upsetting because I see a lot of young people waking up and realizing that our society has become very lazy for the most part. And I could say it, like in my workplaces, let me tell you, when you work in garages and stuff like that, you hire a bunch of kids and teach them a very valuable skill, like working on cars and stuff like that. And you know what? They don't show up on time for some reason. So it's kind of like that's where I'm at, where it's like we see that there's people waking up and saying, okay, there's a different way we could be doing this where we could get more fulfillment out of our work. And that to me is such a gem popping up that it angers me when I see it get like exploited and monetized as much as it does. And sometimes some of the things these guys are saying are to such an extreme that I think it just kind of is against our potential as human beings. Because I'm one of those people who likes to be logical, reasonable, take responsibility, and that's what this is mainly about: is extreme ownership, right? And in a lot of ways, yes, extreme ownership is definitely a thing. Like you take charge of who is well out in your life, who you stay with, who goes, who you choose to put up with, and stuff like that. But some people just kind of think that like that means that everything is their fault, which it's not. And that's like the thing is sometimes there's such a robotic, almost AI-like spewing of these responsibility TED Talks that it just kind of seems disingenuous. And obviously, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that this is everybody who indulges in that content. At the end of the day, who you are, how much you take to heart, what you can take, what you can give from, right? And it's like the responsibility, people become these new influencers where people start doing things like converting to Islam because someone told them to without actually wondering if that religion is right for them, right? Do they really believe the doctrine that they live by in that religion, or are they just doing it because some influencer says so? Or when they talk about extreme ownership, is it all one giant front, or are they that roommate that always makes an excuse on why they can't come up with their rent on time? I actually have a friend who knows who I'm talking about, so if you ever watch this video, yeah, I know it's you. I'm not going to publicly out you, but I know it's you. But I remember I got that every day, like, you got to take responsibility for everything. And you do got to obviously take responsibility for an initiative, for the things that are going to help you level up and help you become a better member of society. But the thing about the double-edged sword of extreme responsibility, I kind of think of it as when I was doing my driver's ed courses when I was like 15, going on 16 because I was going to start driving. I had a driving instructor that refused a student driver sticker, and I asked him why, and he said, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Some people are going to think that, oh, that's a student driver, I should stay away. But then you get those snakes out there who think this is a student driver, I'm going to absolutely ruin this kid's day. And you don't want to believe that there's people out there like that, but there are people out there that are that messed up. And this brings into the problem that I'm talking about, how extreme responsibility is sometimes a double-edged sword, especially if it is what you preach, because you can get a lot of people who don't like people who are responsible and will try to sabotage you or get you to second guess yourself or make you look bad because they don't want to be responsible themselves. It's almost like that guy that wants to run a student driver off the road. There are people that are that malicious and that twisted. So when you listen to these gurus of extreme ownership and everything that you need to do, remember that if you're taking responsibility, obviously that's a good thing. But there's a lot of people out there who see this responsibility counterculture that's moving up and gaining some steam, and you're seeing more younger people realizing we see how the generations before us did this. Let's not make the same mistake, because to those younger people, you are carrying a torch that I hope you guys run with, because I don't want you guys to end up like people my age. That's just a disaster, man. Like, for real, I'm not even joking. Like 80% of the people that are in my age group, I actually avoid. And it's not to try and be rude. It's just trying to be honest. But I think that's the thing, is a lot of us like to make that front on our social medias, too, of responsibility. Like, a lot of us do like to post workout videos. Hey, look what I'm doing. Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, it's for our own little self-gratifications at least a subconscious level. We are human beings. We have an ego. You're going to have it. This whole, no ego death, all that stuff. I think that is complete, absolute horse. I'm not going to swear. But we all know that anyone who says, oh, you should let your ego go, bro, man, those are the people who have the biggest egos out there. So understanding that your ego definitely does play a part. But it's almost like when you're attracting these people who despise you for being responsible, who just want to kind of tear you down, right? Like, there's misery loves company, and misery doesn't like to see people with positive attitudes. So you see a lot of people who don't want to subscribe to this responsibility. And trust me, it's not enough for these people that they're irresponsible. They want to drag you down with their irresponsibility, with their antics. They're energy vampires out there. And that's why it's somewhat of a double-edged sword, especially if you're advertising it or you're talking about it. Now, what I would do is the cure to this is a bit of an oxymoron, right? Is more responsibility. And that's kind of the responsibility for how much you actually preach the responsibility of the thing. Because number one, let me leave you with two things. Don't ever let them see you coming. Instead, talk. Don't. When you talk, just start doing. Don't talk as much. So don't speak. The more energy you have speaking is the less energy you have for doing. And the other thing is that you shouldn't be making the extreme ownership your entire personality, because then you become a robot. And no offense to the Swifties out there, but you ever understand those people who love Taylor Swift, and if you don't worship them to the same level, they worship Taylor Swift, they hate you or something like that? Sometimes a lot of the people in the responsibility, subculture, that's their whole personality, just like the conspiracy realm, right? It's like people who are into conspiracy theories and stuff like that. That it's their whole personality. It's all they talk about. It's almost like politics at the end of the day, where that's all they ever want to talk about. And it's almost like you can guarantee that you understand what's going to come out of their mouth. Like you it's predictable what's going to come out of their mouth. When you let that responsibility or that hustle culture consume your mind to the point where you don't know what you like to do in your free time or anything like that anymore, then that becomes a problem, because then you become that same type of robot for Andrew Tate or Sneeko or any of those guys out there, Hamza, as someone would be for Angelina Jolie or the Kardashians or Taylor Swift or any of these like Doja Cat pop stars. It's just a little bit of self-awareness that goes with it. So make sure that your responsibility culture doesn't become a double-edged sword and you don't get hit by that other blade. Peace out. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for this ramble. Peace.